All right, I think we're good to go. What's up, guys? Good to see you. Welcome to Stock Watch Sunday. My name is Brad, and this is Own the Chaos. If you have never seen this channel, if you've never been here before, welcome. Happy to have you here. So glad that you came. If you're watching this at a later date, still glad that you're here. But if you've never been here, I would highly encourage you to subscribe to this channel and give me an awesome thumbs up because this is Stock Watch Sunday. Now, every Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, I go over the top stocks that I'm watching throughout the week. And we've had some incredible runs. Tesla, talking about Tesla, how that's gone crazy before. Also, what was it last week? Last week was just an incredible week all the way around. FedEx, we knew FedEx was going to tank. I mean, it was just really, really great stuff. AMD also was a great play for us this past week as well. Lots of really good stocks. SBES, if you guys are also in the penny stocks, we talk about those as well. SBES went from triple zeros, fractions of a cent, all the way up to over a penny and nearly 2 cents. So it's been a great last several weeks on Stock Watch Sunday. So if you want to see the top stocks that you should be watching, I highly encourage you to subscribe to this channel. So for all my returning folks, welcome back. Good to see you. Let me welcome some folks here. What's up, Alan? My usual suspects. Quick Fox, good to see you. What's up, Bob? Miguel and Mark. So as we let some more folks roll in here, Joe, what's going on? Jay Kaz, good to see you, man. Hopefully, it looked as if Lamar Jackson pulled through for you. So hopefully you crushed your fantasy football. He'd been pulling through for everybody. Between him and Christian McCaffrey, man, I think they're probably the top scorers for anybody who's winning this week. There's a pretty good chance they probably either got Lamar or Christian McCaffrey in their lineup. But yeah, it's been an incredible week. Last few weeks in the stock market, actually. As I welcome some more people in here. What's up, R. Hanks? Peter, what's up? Thomas, good to see you. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's just an amazing time to be a Ravens fan. This is uncharted territory for us. We've never been a number one seed. We've never had a record like this, so it's been pretty awesome. So I'm pretty pumped. I feel very fortunate to have Lamar Jackson on my team. So it's been pretty awesome. So anyways, Justin, hopefully you're a Ravens fan. So I'm guessing that you are if you're agreeing with me. So yeah. And Alan says hit the thumbs up button. So, all right. So first and foremost, let me go ahead and wish you guys a Merry Christmas if you celebrate Christmas, and Happy Holidays as well as Hanukkah for my Jewish folks out there. And so it's a special time of the week, a special time of the year for a lot of us over at not just here in We Trade HQ, but everywhere. And so I just wanted to extend a very Merry Christmas. I do celebrate Christmas, so a very Merry Christmas to all of those of you out there. And so let's hit to it. Let's get to it. Let's hit to it. I don't know what the heck that is. Anyways, so what I'm going to do here is what I always do. I'm going to bring you on over to We Trade HQ. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with We Trade HQ, I highly encourage you to come check it out. It's a free platform where you can learn and grow and celebrate each other's success. I built this with my partner Jake, and we are continually upgrading it and making it just better for anybody who's looking to trade anything. No matter what area in the market you're in, we want We Trade HQ to be the place for you. Now, you might be asking yourself, what is it? It's a social platform, where you can do technical analysis, as I'm about to show you here. You can also talk about your favorite stocks amongst your friends. As you can see here, there's many people that are talking about this particular one that I'm getting ready to go over. You can also check out filings. You can do all of that by searching your favorite ticker up here. There's plenty of other features that We Trade HQ also provides that you'll see that throughout the live stream tonight. And so let's go ahead and get started. So what I usually do, if you guys aren't familiar, is that I go over some of the penny stocks that I watch, because if you haven't been here before, this channel started off of OTC penny stocks, and I vowed to never leave the OTC. But I also recognize that as my audience gets bigger, a lot more people are talking about bigger board stocks and want to talk about those larger cap stocks. And so I've decided to kind of branch out a little bit and talk about those as well. So the first half of this stream will go over a lot of the penny stocks that I'm watching. And, and then we'll transfer over to the larger caps as well. They've all been very good. I'm not going to say that we nail every one, but, this is a stock watch Sunday. So anything that comes up on this stream is definitely one to watch for. I don't encourage anybody to just buy everything that I talk about. But having said that, there's been a lot of winners that we've had on stock watch Sunday in the past, and I don't expect this week to be any different. So we'll be talking about Tesla here in a little bit. But for now, we're going to hit the penny stocks real quick. And the first one's going to be KYNC. Now, KYNC got some pretty interesting volume over the last couple of days. On the 30-minute chart here, as you can see, it looks pretty ugly. And if you're not used to trading penny stocks, you probably be like, what the hell is this? Yeah, there's no volume on here, really, if you look at it from this perspective. But KYNC has made some really nice runs in the past. I actually traded this back in the spring of this year. And if we can go back to the daily chart, this actually ran very well. Went all the way from, let me scroll in here a little bit better for you. But it actually, yeah, right here in the springtime, as you can see, went from the 000s all the way up to as high as 007. And really on not a whole lot of volume. So I expect that we could see a potential type of run with that as well here. So let me come back here. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with how I do a lot of my own due diligence on things like KYNC, I also pull up otcmarkets.com, and then I'll look at things like share structure, because it's really important if you're trading over-the-counter penny stocks. So looking at the share structure here, now KYNC is going to be one that I would consider a lottery type of play, right? You know, you want to play a scratch off, or do you want to play KYNC? Take your pick, because of the price point right now. Right now it's trading at 003. That's where it closed out on Friday. And, it's anything that's priced in this 000 area, it's considered a lottery type of play until it's not, right? And sometimes they work out very well. SBES being the latest stock that came from 000s and did extremely well, up nearly to 2 cents. So that is a massive move, that was also featured on Stock Watch Sunday for many weeks in a row. Until now, it's just kind of settling out. And that there's only one reason why SBES isn't on Stock Watch Sunday this week, and it's just because I've talked about it so much at length right now that not really much has changed. So that still very much on the radar, still very much worth taking a look at SBES. If you guys want to take a look at that, go and watch previous Stock Watch Sundays. But just not talking about it this week because there's not really anything that's materialized. But there's a couple of them that are, and that's why we're talking about them tonight. So KYNC, they came out with a new Twitter account. Now, lots of times, you have to be careful with this. This is why it's kind of been moving a little bit. But they have a new Twitter account. This looks pretty official. They have their website as well here. And that's kind of all we have to go off of. And that's why I was saying, this is more or less a lottery type of play. But really should be on your watch list just in case you want to play something like this, because it doesn't take much to get it up to 0006. So if people start seeing interest in this as a KYNC, then I think that would be worth throwing a couple bucks at. Now, if you're just somebody who's just starting out, and what I would highly encourage you to do, I see this all the time. Somebody who's just starting out, maybe they have just $1,000 account or something like that. They just throw out $1,000 at something like KYNC. And then expect them to make them rich or change their zip code or something like that. That's not what KYNC is. If you are just starting out, take a small position if you want to. But just understand that something like this is extremely risky. So go into it with the understanding that this could go horribly wrong or it could go extremely well. You just have to know that going into it. And, if it plays out in your favor, great. If not, you at least prepared yourself for that. But the reason that I'm watching it is because the interest is there, the volume's coming in, the share structure looks pretty darn good for this price point. Now, if you're trading something, in the big board stocks or something like that, you're probably like, what the hell is this? But recently reported float is at 565 million, outstanding shares around 3 billion. And this is pretty typical for a 000 stock, but it's a really good price or share structure for the price rather. So KYNC definitely going to be one on the radar for this week. Moving on is going to be FALPU. Now, this is something that I haven't had on Stock Watch Sunday for a couple of weeks, but definitely still want to be on the radar. They came out with an 8K, which, by the way, was just pulled up on WeTrade HQ. So if you want to go to WeTrade HQ, all the SEC filings are here for you to look up. So I was able to pull that up here. They came out with a really interesting 8K. So, this is something that the last time they did this, this was something that they did back in 2016. Kind of a restructuring, if you will. They did a very similar restructuring back in 2016. So if we go and look at the chart on FELPU, this is what happened back then. So this is, again, the daily chart here on FELPU. This is right around when they did the restructuring then. And then you could see how it just steadily climbed up. And now here, when they started to go through the restructure period, went from 99 cents all the way up to $8.50. Now, right now, it is at 0.06. Is at 6 cents. There are some people that are in this one. But again, this is another one where I'm telling you guys, don't throw all your eggs in one basket. When you're trading the OTC, you shouldn't be whole accounting anything. So go into it with the understanding that when you're playing OTC stocks, when you're playing penny stocks in general, it's extremely risky. I've had a lot of people coming up to me, talking to me about FELPU, and I'm like, listen, guys, why are you throwing, tons of money at this? You put some, diversify your account as far as, if you just want to trade OTC stocks, there's nothing wrong with that. That's how I was able to become a full-time trader, was through the OTC when it was really rocking. And the way I did it was diversifying my account. I didn't throw all of my entire capital into one thing. Little, chunks here and there, and then add to your positions as you see value in them. But, just be careful if you're just starting out and not like just hoping and wishing that there's one particular stock that's just going to change your life, because it's just not the reality. But having said that, FELPU, when they did that restructuring and had such a strong move like that, it's encouraging to see that this is a similar restructure here that we could see a nice little move on. Also, they're a $1 billion company. This is a legitimate $1 billion company, and it's priced at 6 cents. So I think this is extremely undervalued. The reason why it's down here is because they got delisted because of the price of the stock. And so I think that they're trying to get themselves back to NASDAQ. And, I feel as if it's only a matter of time before we get back there. And so that FELPU, I think, is extremely undervalued. As you can see here, there's a lot of folks within WeTrade HQ community that thinks this is a buy as well. I'll join them here. So if you're not familiar with that feature that WeTrade HQ has, so we designed WeTrade HQ to be, community focused. So we have sentiments here that is voted upon by you guys. So I just went ahead and voted bullish on FELPU, and it looks like there's a couple of other folks that feel the same way. So FELPU, definitely one to be watching for on this Stock Watch Sunday. Lastly, and so this is one that's I'm a little bit leery of, and it's PACV. So PACV came out with a nice little 8K. And if I can pull this up here, it came out with a nice little 8K, and it's one of those things where it looks good. They have a lot of assets under this 8K, another acquisition of tens of millions of dollars. The thing of it is that they do have some dilution issues, and they're also getting ready to go through a reverse split. So this is a little bit of a wild card. But having said that, it's made some really nice moves. So we go back to the 30-minute chart. It's gone from 0016, and then when the 8K came out, came all the way up to 005. So it's had some really nice moves, and historically has had incredible moves. This has gone into the dollars before. So, share structure is a little bit different than it was then, but I think PACV is definitely one to keep on the watch list, but extremely risky. Okay, I wouldn't suggest anybody just go nuts on this thing, but I think that it's definitely worth keeping on the radar and watching to see how this plays out. Especially, I'm curious to see how this reacts after the reverse split, honestly. So if you're not comfortable with getting into this, knowing that there's a reverse split coming, I completely understand that, but definitely keep it on your radar, especially after the reverse split takes place, because I think that that's when we'll really start to see some action. But there might be some opportunities here pre-split for you to be able to make a nice little chunk of change on the moves that this makes, and it does make some really nice moves. I mean, you can see this. It came from 001, went all the way back up to 004. So that's a 400% gain right there. Went from 0015 all the way up to 005, and so that's 500% gain plus. So it's had some really nice moves and really good opportunities to get in and out of this one. I'm not one that really encourages flipping, or just kind of flipping in and out of something, I usually, when I'm in the OTC, like to accumulate a position and hold on to it until I see a significant catalyst. But nevertheless, there's been a lot of really good opportunities in PACVs to make some really good money. So keep that on your radar. And let me check in with you guys, see how you guys are doing. Alan said he made 1,000% trade on KYNC. That's right. Alan was in my mentorship during that time. So if you are interested in that mentorship, the links are down below. But Alan, yeah, I think that Alan, it was either your first or second, maybe 1,000% runner. So he was able to get into KYNC back in the spring when I was talking about it. And yeah, unbelievable move. Made great money with a lot of folks during that time. Springtime was great. But yeah, it was pretty awesome. You did not miss the Tesla part of the video. We'll get to that in just a sec. But that's going to cover it for me as far as penny stocks are concerned. And so if you guys were waiting for the big board stuff, we are on our way. Now, if you guys, again, if you want me to look over some specific stocks for you, I'd be happy to do that. Just make sure you're putting that in the chat, and I'll be happy to look those over for you if I'm not mentioning something that you're actually watching for this week as well. So let me go ahead and get to the big board stuff, and then I'll get to your guys' questions in just a sec. So Tesla has been making some monster moves. Gosh, it's just been amazing to see how this has moved. And so there's been a lot of questions as to whether or not, how far can this really go? Well, I kind of want to refer back to, this is on the daily chart, granted. So remember how this thing was like extremely hyped up, went all the way up to 387, retested, and then came back down, came back up to the 380s, and then yet again, this just kept going up and down and up and down, and this is on the daily chart over the last couple of years, I would say, that it's gone crazy like this. And then it finally broke up over that. And so I've had a lot of people asking me, you can ask my folks in the mentorship, once this was creeping up towards the 380s, I was like, this is going to blast right through 400. It's not even going to blink. It's not even going to think about it. And sure enough, it did. Went up to 413 in the highs on Thursday. And the reason that it's doing this, and the reason that I think that it's going to continue, and I want to refer back to Don. So if you guys are familiar with Don Fran, he's actually one of our mentors as well in the WeTrade HQ community. You go check him out. He's at the Don Fran Show. He's actually right here, if you can see him here. The Don Fran Show on YouTube. He actually made a great point. And the point was that Tesla, during this time where it would go up to 380s, 390s, and then kind of keep getting rejected and come all the way back down and got really squirrely, came all the way down as low as 176 over the summer and then continue to go up, is because now, see this huge gap up? This huge gap up occurred when they finally announced in their latest earnings report that they're profitable. During all this time, this was pure hype. Everybody was buying up at this price because they were riding that hype machine, that hype train. And during this time, they were not profitable. So if they're trading this high and they're not even profitable yet, what do you think happens when they are profitable? And so that is why this is happening. This is why it just blew right past 405 or 400. I didn't even think about it. And that's why I think that Tesla is going to continue to just rock right through 400. Now, do I think it's going to go straight up? Right now, it certainly looks like it is, right? If we look at the chart here, and I can zoom in for you. If we zoom in on the chart, you can see that it's gone berserk, right? And I think that eventually it's going to pull back at some point. But 400 was really kind of a mental resistance for Tesla. If you guys have been trading for a while, you probably know what mental resistances are. But if you don't, mental resistance is kind of like when you're in uncharted territory where Tesla is right now. It's never been this high. And you see that 400 mark. That 400 mark is kind of a mental resistance. So even though you're not seeing it on a chart, it's kind of one of those things where, 400 just seems like it's that milestone that, it just needs to get over. And really, I think there's a lot of people that set stop losses around the 400 area, or maybe like 401, and it just blasted right through it. And I think it's just because people are finally seeing Tesla for what it is. You got Jim Cramer all crazy about it now, which I know people probably have their own opinions about Jim Cramer. I'm actually a fan of him. I think that he does know what he's talking about most of the time. It's just there's a lot of people that are very optimistic about Tesla, and I am too. I think this continues. If you want something that you actually want to invest in long term, let's just say that you have a portfolio of long term stocks that you gotta keep dumping money into, or accumulating money into. I think Tesla's one to do it with. And I wouldn't be buying all the way up here around 410. You can obviously see that it's pulled back a little bit down to 405 at the close on Friday. It's pulled back to around 403, 402. But I think 400 is going to be its new support level. And if it breaks 400, you'll see that it'll probably end up coming back down to perhaps this 360 level. I would be shocked if it came down to 360 anytime soon, barring any kind of negative catalyst that comes on Tesla. But you can see the WeTrade community. This is a very popular stock within WeTrade HQ. I'll go ahead and vote bullish on this one as well. But you can see a lot of people are pretty bullish on this, and with good reason. So you can see that these other automakers here just pale in comparison to Tesla, because I think just the potential here is just extremely, extremely high. And I think that we see Tesla, gosh, I really would not surprise me if we saw Tesla around $600 before the end of 2020. Just putting that out there. I've made some pretty outlandish predictions before. Some of them have come true, and Apple being one of them. I said Apple was going to reach 300 by the end of this year. Over the summertime, I think a lot of people thought I was crazy, but sure enough, it got pretty darn close. We look at Apple here. Let's take a look at Apple. Apple got close. It's did it get up to 385? 387, I think, is where Apple ended up getting to. So if we pull up Apple on WeTrade HQ, no, I'm sorry, 382. 382, so almost there. We got a week left. Maybe we get there. I don't think we'll get quite to 300, but it's pretty darn close. So again, I don't think I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to get it to $600 before the end of the year in 2020. Like I said, barring any kind of crazy catalyst that would impact the stock negatively, I think that Tesla continues to run here. Be interesting to see when the next earnings are going to look like for Tesla. Speaking of negative catalysts, Boeing has had a tough time here. But I think the reason being, so if you look at the news here on WeTrade HQ, you can see they've had some really strong issues with the Boeing 737. Now they've just halted, manufacturing on this thing. They also had this Starliner that failed. They had a failed mission to the space station, and then now they're trying to spin it to where it made a successful landing, and it's like, good for you guys. I mean, SpaceX has been leaps and bounds ahead of you guys here in that space. So I don't know. I think Boeing is still kind of in trouble for the short term, but I think for the long term, if you look at the chart here, you can see that there was a clear support level here, right around 328, 330 area. So if this doesn't bounce, which it kind of seems like it wants to, so if we zoom in here, and this is on the daily chart, guys. I've been looking on the daily chart here. So if you look at the daily chart here, it has dipped below this area, but then comes right back up and kind of consolidates around there. And then you can see that it just tests it and comes right back up. It's done this over the last, year, really. It really has done this over the last year, and it really just does not like being down here in the 200s. So I think this could definitely be a good opportunity to maybe hop in on a bounce, or maybe just watch it to see if it actually holds this thing. So if you could see that this kind of gap down here from around 340, I think that we could see a nice move to kind of at least close this gap this week. And we'll see. But this has been some pretty heavy selling. I think this could definitely be an area where this finally bounces for Boeing. So look for this, some sort of gap fill, at least up to 340. If the outlook starts to look a little bit more positive for Boeing, I think we start to see some really nice moves. So I would be bullish on Boeing, unless for some reason it just doesn't hold here. But I think that we could see a nice move back up for Boeing for sure. After it closes this gap, if it closes the gap, I think that there really isn't much holding it back to get it around to 370s or so. I think that would be an amazing move if it did that. But we'll see as far as Boeing's concerned. But that's why I have it on the watch list for this week. Moving on, AMD, another one that I really have been trading and just doing very well on. This is not one that I would really consider going bearish on at all, despite the fact that this has gone up quite considerably. I think it's a really good, a stock to be trading right now, to be going bullish on. A lot of reason is because this one actually follows the market. So as long as SPY keeps doing well, which we can look up, as long as SPY, which is the ETF for the S&P 500, as long as that continues to do well, I think that, AMD will continue to do well too. And so it's just a cheaper, basically, if you don't want to trade SPY because it's a little overpriced for you. Obviously, there's futures you can trade too, the micro S&P as well. But AMD is definitely one. There's a lot of stocks out there that end up following the market. AMD is one that does that very well. And you can look and compare the charts. It really does follow SPY. And so I think as long as the market stays good, which I think it will, I think AMD is definitely one to continue to trade. I would look for a pullback though. I think that there's still a pullback in it, and we'll see if that ends up happening this week. But I don't think it will. If we go to the 4-hour chart, you can kind of see that there's been a nice little support level right around 42. So if it pulls back to 42, I think that would be a good opportunity if you start to see continuation here. And we can pull back some of our indicators here. So I like a no sure thing indicator. And we can kind of see how this is starting to turn up on that momentum indicator as well. AMD, definitely a good one that I think will be worth trading and at least worth watching for this week. Lastly is going to be Netflix. Now, Netflix is an interesting one. Netflix is interesting because I think this is overpriced. All the other ones that I've been talking to you guys about tonight, I've been very bullish on. Talking to you guys about how high I think this could go. Netflix is one that I think is way too high right now. Having said that, I think that it could continue to go higher. We'll see. Right now, it's trying to close this gap from down here in the 328 range, and it could potentially continue to close this gap all the way up to 360. But I think it's overpriced. This news just came out over the weekend that Disney snags $1.1 million Netflix subscribers with its streaming service. The polling suggests that 1.1 million or 5.8% of Netflix users canceled their subscriptions to switch services to Disney Plus. Now, if you guys watched me talk about Disney stock a few weeks ago, and I was telling you, I was like, I think Disney really could be a disruptor in the industry. And I don't know if anybody's really taking Disney seriously just yet. But 2020 is going to be very interesting for Disney and Netflix. And I think that Netflix is going to be in a lot of trouble if they don't do something to turn this around. Disney, I think, now has a package, Disney Plus package now with Hulu and ESPN Plus. So it's like $12.99, so that's still cheaper than what Netflix is for a lot of users. And so it's going to be interesting to see. I love Netflix. I'll never get rid of my Netflix subscription. I love all their shows. But the fact that they're losing subscribers to Disney Plus and not in addition to Disney Plus, I think that's interesting. And I think it tells a story. And so that's why I think that Netflix is extremely overpriced. You can kind of see how, the WeTrade HQ community feels like it's more than likely a sell at this point. I don't think it's just a sell just yet. So for this week, I will be bullish on Netflix to see if it fills this gap here. But if it starts to make the turn, you can bet that I'll be going short on Netflix. I don't think that 2020 ends up being a good year for Netflix. I don't know what's going on with this run, but I think that it'll end up turning back around, and this belongs, I think, down in the 200s, 250s, easy. And I have no idea why this thing continues to run, but it can't last forever, and I think it's extremely overpriced, extremely overextended, and way overvalued. So that's my sentiment on Netflix, and that is my sentiment on Stockwatch Sunday. So those are the stocks that I'm watching. 7 of them altogether. 3 of them were penny stocks. 4 of them were big boards. So hopefully you guys enjoyed those. And if you agree with me, let me know. If you're watching this at a later date, I'd love to hear from you. Leave me some comments down below if you want to discuss some of the ones that I was watching. If you agree, if you don't agree, definitely would love to hear from you. But yeah. So, hey, Justin, appreciate the kind words, man. Justin Rivera says, love this live channel. Yeah. Appreciate the support, man. Many hold $400 for support. Yeah, I think Tesla is definitely $400. I think it's definitely a good spot for it. And really, like I said, I think it just continues to go up from here, just on the simple fact that now that they're profitable. So who knows where this ends up going? But I don't think it's down. I don't think it's down at all. So how do I feel about Amazon 15 years out? Justin, so Amazon, I think, there's nothing stopping it. So the next challenge for Amazon right now is their shipping, right? So I actually shorted FedEx, made some really good money on FedEx on yet again another poor earnings report. And I think a lot of it has to do with Amazon. Amazon pulling a lot of their contracts. I have family that works in the post office, and I think the post office is going away because the post office really was staying afloat because of Amazon, and Amazon's even pulled their contracts from the post office. So, I think it's a trickle down effect. And so I think this is its next challenge. I think one huge challenge for Amazon was the Whole Foods, right? When they took over Whole Foods, that was like the next level for Amazon, right? And so now getting the shipping under control, and now that they're getting ready, now that they do have their, a lot of their shipping that gets done in-house, and they're contracting out these other shipping companies like UPS and FedEx and even the post office. You're seeing less and less on that. And so now Amazon is kind of taking over that market as well. And I think that's going to be the next challenge for it. So if Amazon can do that, oh boy, I mean, it could really go nuts. So 15-year plus, I'd still be very bullish on Amazon. They're taking over the world, man. No doubt in my mind that we see, higher value or more value towards Amazon, especially if they can get this under control. I think that's their biggest challenge right now. But you're starting to see FedEx, UPS, the post office see less and less earnings because of the impact that Amazon's having on them by pulling their contracts and having their delivery service all done in-house. So very interesting question. I'm glad you brought that up. That's my thoughts on it. That's my opinion as far as Amazon's concerned. Justin, the link's actually down in the description below, so feel free to click that if you'd like. FedEx had bad news in the Wall Street Journal. Yeah, FedEx is in a lot of trouble for a lot of reasons. But any biotechs or clinical trial reports that you're watching this week? No, that's not really kind of my forte, to be honest with you. If you want to go check out somebody who actually is really good at that kind of stuff, go check out Charlie. He's the Zip Trader. So if you guys know Zip Trader, I'm sure you do. He's actually very up and coming, very good guy. So go check him out. Zip Trader actually does a lot of the bio stocks and sees a lot of value, has had a lot of success in those. So if you want to go check him out, feel free to do so. It's Zip Trader. Go search it out on YouTube, and that's kind of his forte. So not really something that I get into a whole lot. So I don't want to speak on it. You know what I mean? So why do you use short instead of using puts or calls, Driver Dave? Reason for that is just because it's just what I'm comfortable with. Options is extremely risky. There's a lot of things that, could go wrong as far as options are concerned. And I know a lot of people who are very successful in options, but it's really not something that I've just done enough reps in. So I always talk about like repetition and really getting involved in that style of trading. But I've been so comfortable in just being able to short and go long by just trading shares that it's just what works for me. So if I can make a good living and live comfortably doing what it is that I'm doing right now as it stands, I really don't see much of a need to shift over to options. If I want to do it, maybe I'll make some time to do it. But right now, it just doesn't seem worth it to me at this point. I really just kind of stick to what I'm good at. But not to say that other people can't, but there's a lot that goes into trading options that I think a lot of people don't really understand until they get into it. And then they're like, but this went, you could predict, for example, that Tesla is going to tank. Let's just put it that way. So then you buy put options, and then you're right about it. But because of that time decay, you end up losing money. So there's just a lot of complications that go into trading options. And I know there's a lot of people that are very successful at it, and it's a very good way to make money if you're proficient at it, if you're good at it. But this is just what's comfortable for me. And so that's just the way that I do it. So it really just comes down to preference and what I'm good at and sticking to what I'm good at. So nothing against it at all. Isn't there a lot less risk though? No, actually there's more risk in trading options. I would venture to say there's more risk in trading options. Like I said, because of the decay, and you're borrowing on leverage and stuff like on margin and stuff like that. So case in point, there's a young kid on Robinhood had to pay back a lot of money. I'm talking hundreds of thousands of dollars because of they didn't know what they were getting into when it came to trading options. So, it's tricky. It's tricky if you don't know what you're doing. You can get yourself in a lot of trouble. So make sure you do your research if you're trading options, then you know exactly what you're getting into. It can be very lucrative if you are prepared going into it, right? Instead of just winging it, you really need to get an understanding of options and how to trade them. Go ask Don, though, if you're interested in more options-related stuff. Don Fran and even Cameron is one of our other mentors, Young Money Investments. Go check them out. They're actually a little bit more proficient at options and even the profit room as well. So if you're interested in that, go check them out over at WeTradeHQ.com under mentors. Those guys will definitely steer you in the right direction. So, oh, there's a bug on me. Whew, stink bugs. Anybody have those in their area? Stink bugs are all over the place right now. How many people do you have online with you on average per day in your paid service in OTC? Would a new client get any personal help in the learning curve? Sick Puppy, absolutely. So, you can, there's a couple of people that are actually in the chat right now that can attest to the fact that, it's very, very personable. We have a really close relationship, in our group. It's a really tight-knit community. And so even if I happen to not be around for whatever reason, I'm a very, really busy guy, even though I try to answer every question as soon as I can. There's plenty of other veteran traders and even other moderators within a group that are willing to help you and can help steer you in the right direction if you're having trouble with something. But, it's a really great community to be part of. So, yeah, no need to worry there as well. Okay. Verducci, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. I mean, I thought that I was being as decent as it could be about options, just expressing my opinions about it. But anyways, I know nothing about options. I think I'll keep it that way. Yeah. I mean, like I said, though, it's worth exploring. Maybe it's something that you actually do understand. So, oh yeah, stink bugs. Yeah, dude, I don't know. They just show up out of nowhere. But yeah, so if there's no other questions, guys, that's going to be it for me. So thank you. Oh, you live in Western New York? Yes. Yeah. They're all over here. So I'm in Maryland. If you don't know, it's same thing down here. But anyways, that's going to do it for me, stink bugs and all. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you like this, please show me some support. Give me a thumbs up. It just helps this channel grow even more. And subscribe if you got value out of this. You want to see more content such as this. I put out videos every week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Switched to a new schedule, and it seems to be working out for me a lot better. You guys seem to like it as well. So check us out. And also, if you guys love the Barcast, by the way, just a little side note, check out the Barcast. We have a new channel. So go look up the Barcast. If you guys really love that, between Christian and I, we're just chilling, just kind of, talking about business and life, and we're revamping everything. We're adding some old videos. I'm actually going to take them off of Own the Chaos, put them over on the Barcast so they'll still live there. And we have a great year coming out for 2020. I'm super excited. I'm super pumped. We're going to have guests. We're going on location. We're going to go all over the country. That is our plan. Our goal is to visit a bar in all the 50 states. So if you want to follow us on our journey as far as that's concerned, go check us out. It's at The Barcast on YouTube. And so again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, I will see you all before the bell. And B. Smith is out. Have a good one, guys.